you wanted to touch on this, the whole YouTube boxing thing. Is it good for the sport? Is it not?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It's a lot to unpack.
Well, I'm going to piss off some boxing fans.
How so?
I think it's good for the sport. It got me started in the sport with the Logan Paul and KSI thing.
Right.
And now I'm able to transfer to Canelo. And then now I'm trying to learn more boxers.
Yes.
And from Canelo, I went from Logan Paul to Canelo to Triple G. Billy Joe Saunders now. I'm learning a lot about boxing. So it's going to bring in some new fans like me.
It's going to bring it in, yeah.
So I think it's a good thing. There's no harm. There's a difference between the YouTube crowd and the boxing crowd.
Yes. So. And then publicity, that's the mainstay for both YouTube and the sport. It's publicity as well, whether it's like everything you leave in the ring, yes, there's that. And there's the fighters themselves, they have to train, they have to prepare. There's a respect, there is a way to do this sport. But on the publicity side, it's no holds barred in the sense.
It's pretty toxic.
It's toxic. Anybody is going to do
anything.
But
that's how they promote.
For sure. Even in boxing, with we got promoters saying this, promoters saying that. We got infamously, we got Don King. The kind of person who's trying to put fights together, who's really trying to make a bigger payday than the fighters. And like you said before, there's a lot of eyes on Logan Paul because he came up. He first started as this Viner,
and then Disney
star.
Or was that Jake Paul?
I think Jake Paul, but Logan was in there.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while, he did this whole YouTube thing, blew up.
Got some controversy. And then Japan happened. He tried to recover.
He does this fight with
KSI.
The first one, which was an amateur fight.
Which was a tie.
Which was a draw. And then the second fight happened. And wow, you proved something with YouTube. Y'all are able to sell at the Staples Center in a main event fight. And Billy Joe Saunders is on the undercard? Hello?
Yes.
Crazy. And then, yet again, he comes up. He's... in this podcast game, he's in these things. He wants a fight with Mayweather. People thought it wasn't going to happen. He's, his brother Jake is doing these things, and he's in his corner the whole time in the background, still
Jake Paul.
gaining attention.
I used to dislike Logan Paul so much when the Japan happened. Now I respect him. He's admirable. How do you say it? Admirable,
yeah.
He's
for stepping in the ring,
and he inspires me a bit. I'm gonna be honest. He inspires me a bit because he showed that you could be from the lowest of the low, mess up your life.
Yeah, on purpose too.
On purpose to being on top of the world.
Yes.
It's like if he can do it, he was a guy from Ohio that no one knew.
Yeah.
Why can't I do something like that?
And weirdly enough, WWE put him in a WrestleMania spot right before the fight.
And then
Kevin Owens stunned him, and everybody was like, "Oh, whatever." Yeah. But think about that though. Like that's a WrestleMania where people were finally there, and they get to see Logan Paul in the flesh, someone who, quite honestly, was on a lot of people's screens throughout the whole pandemic.
Yeah.
So that, and then the fight finally happens. They finalize it. He trains. He does this. The fight happens. Gets paid, and what you're saying is this is the come up. Like it actually is inspiring a little bit for Logan Paul.
Yeah.
On the other side of that coin,
Jake Paul.
Jake.
No, he has not gained my respect. He's only gotten slightly worse.
He's been bad. I've hated him.
He's been bad since the beginning, since Disney, since Vine,
since the shitty little music videos.
It's everything. No, I never liked Jake Paul, and I will never like Jake Paul until he does something like Logan.
Yeah,
which he didn't mess up as bad as Logan, but he did terrorize his neighborhood.
Yeah, terrorize his neighborhood. He apparently he invited a lot of people to a party during the pandemic. People got COVID. He was looting during the BLM movements.
Bro. I forgot, bro. That's horrible.
Why would you go? Why would you?
And he has money. He doesn't need to do this.
Why are you going there with cameras and shit?
That's stupid.
Yeah, trying to record and get content off of an actual movement going on. Like Logan went, and all he said was, "Hey." He said on the podcast he was specifically saying his stance against racism, and he's saying we're gonna go to a protest today, and then pictures came out. He didn't post the pictures. Other people saw him and took pictures of him. So there's a difference why he was there. There was two different priorities right there.
Back then, you can't distinct the difference between Logan Paul and Jake Paul, and now there's a huge difference.
Used to, people were like, "Oh, the Paul brothers, fuck them both," but now people are like, "Oh, you know,
Logan is fine. Jake though, fuck him."
Fuck Jake Paul. But then again, that's what he wants you to say. That's why I like.
Yeah, it gives him energy. It gives him motivation.
He's playing a little bit.
And he's like, "Oh, why don't people respect you, bro? You haven't done anything that's worth respecting."
Yeah, like you fought Anderson Gibb, and like I've said it before, Anderson Gibb did not have his feet under him. Oh, yeah. He screwed himself. That's how he lost. Jake didn't really. He's like, "Oh, I knocked him out. Yeah, I beat the shit out of him."
Didn't he get knocked out like 3 times?
He knocked him down because the 3 knockdown rule was in effect. So he didn't knock him out. He didn't do with
Wait, which fight? Which Jake fight is this?
This is the one before the pandemic. This was the Miami fight with Anderson Gibb, who's another YouTuber.
Oh yeah. Okay. I thought you were talking about the basketball player.
No,
that's Nate Robinson. Yeah.
And before the pandemic too, he's got this fight, and we want him to lose, and he comes out and beats someone who's not really.
He even fought Deji, which Deji wasn't really trained well.
He had no camp, and this was an amateur fight, and he still managed to do the most damage than anybody. He
got bloodied nose in the first round.
Yeah.
And then Nate Robinson comes in, athlete, but not boxing athlete.
Yeah, he's a former NBA
and
player.
He's one of the shorter NBA players.
Yeah.
Which I think he's just the ones that throw the basket.
That was just a meme spectacle too.
He got knocked out.
The way he got killed. Yeah, because it's a dangerous sport where y'all are actually physically punching each other.
And then Ben Askren, he's not even known for
his striking. He's known for his grappling.
Yeah, because of his wrestling background.
Yes, and I've seen one of the when I first got into UFC around April of 2019. That Ben Askren was one of the first fights I got to watch because I'm like, okay, everything is new to me. I'm watching. Ben Askren fights Robbie Lawler, and Robbie Lawler, to many UFC fans, is one of the great welterweights blessed to be in the sport.
And he has that dad bod, which could help him in the ground.
Yeah. And in this fight, Robbie Lawler, they're taking it, they're striking with each other. Robbie Lawler completely grapples him, takes him under
and he punches him brutally.
No, he dunks him.
That's the worst takedown I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he manages to lift him up and slam him on. I thought he was out for the count right then and there, but
I'm surprised the referee didn't even stop it. Most referees would have stopped that.
They would have stopped it right then and there. And then the crazy part about it is, it was a possible. People say it was an early stoppage because Ben Askren ended up getting Robbie Lawler in a choke, and I think it was Herb Dean. Herb Dean saw him kind of go out, and he's like, no, out, gone. And then Robbie Lawler's like, what the fuck? I wasn't out.
Inconsistent.
So.
But I'm surprised that Ben Askren went to the ground pretty fast. Seeing that clip of him being in the ground, being pounded very hard, and still recovering. And
I mean, Ben Askren had a hip surgery, and nobody talked about it
until after the fight.
And Ben Askren throughout the entire Jake fight, or the whole build-up to that, he didn't care. It seemed like he didn't care. I mean, he didn't care. He didn't really show mind when he got knocked out in the fastest UFC knockout in history with Jorge Masvidal. He took that knee and he took it hard. And he had another fight after, and then he decided to call it quits. He didn't really care. And then, I don't know. I didn't really have confidence in Ben Askren because I knew his striking. I knew whatever. I was just like, how is he going to fare against this fucker? That's all I wanted to know.
Jake Paul isn't horrible, but he hasn't fought a real boxer yet.
He hasn't fought a real boxer yet. And he's saying, oh, I'm a real boxer. I'm this, this, and this. Then fight a real boxer.
Yeah, and there's boxers that call him out, and he doesn't want to fight them.
Yeah, why not Ryan Garcia? I mean, how do you feel about Ryan Garcia? Because I got asked this last time, and I was like, yeah, I like him. And even though he's cocky.
Isn't he young? Very young?
Very
still?
young.
He's 22 or something?
Yes, the young Ryan Garcia. He's a brash, young, what would you call, not an upstarter, something they used to say, a prospect. They used to call it. You could say he's one of the great prospects right now. Mm-hmm. Right now, this second. I want to say that. And a lot of people may be pissed off at that because a lot of people don't like Ryan Garcia just because he's cocky.
Yeah.
But, I would like to see Ryan Garcia versus Jake Paul.
Two of the people that are best at what they trash
Yeah, the trash talking, the age, and the fact that Ryan Garcia, like, people want to say, "Oh, fight a real boxer." Well, Ryan Garcia is a real boxer. All of his,
and he trash talks.
He's a knockout artist. He's proven to be a knockout artist, even though people are like, "What's going on here?" Well, let's put it to the test. We put it to the test with Logan Paul, Mayweather. Let's get them in the ring. You know what I mean?
And like, I think the Logan Paul thing, it helps because like, boxers like, oh, I don't want to fight someone unless they're in my weight class, they're in ring. Yeah. This shows that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just box.
Just box and see what happens.
Like how the old days did. Like, put me in front of anyone right now, and I'll take them out.
I'll take them on. Yeah. Yeah. That's the mentality. I don't know. I don't like Jake. Like,
no one likes Jake Paul.
Nobody. And what you were saying earlier is true. I believe this whole YouTube mix or different boxing events happening. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? It's good publicity. It gets people in the ring, people who want to try out in the ring. Like the whole YouTube TikTok thing. How do you feel about that one?
That one is a bit more trash.
That one's a bit more trash.
Because like they don't even train as much as the YouTuber ones. And then like they're TikTokers.
They're TikTokers.
They wouldn't survive on YouTube. Yeah. They would barely have way less subscribers than they did on YouTube. Like, their content isn't even almost legitimate. A bunch of them are just looks.
Yeah, just looks and
the ones that are gonna box are just a bunch of people that look good.
And if you saw the press conference, they were like, "We want money. That's it.
That's it. We want money."
Or some, like, I don't even know the names of some of these people because I truly don't care. But why would you say at a press conference, "Oh, I haven't started training yet"? Why?
Some people are barely stopped training a few days ago, and some are barely training.
That doesn't make no sense.
Like the TikTok one feels so sloppy, so it doesn't
make any sense. And the only fights I'm hyped for is fucking Gib. He's making his comeback. He wants to try to prove something, and so does Deji. Deji wants to prove something as well.
Yeah, and like the YouTuber ones, at least they gave months. They actually trained for that
shit.
Like the TikToker ones make the YouTube ones look amazing.
Yeah. And then, did you watch the press conference with the TikTokers and YouTubers?
I saw that Bryce Hall pushed someone.
Yeah, or he got in a scuffle and then ended up losing. So
yeah, Bryce Hall talks a bunch of shit in.
Yeah.
Doesn't get it done. He's not as strong. He's not good at striking.
Yeah.
Have you seen the videos where like he punches them?
Yes.
Or in the abs? And then they're like, "Oh, do it again, do it again, do it again." And then they compare it to a video of someone else. I think KSI doing it.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh shit, give me a." They start laughing. It's like, "Okay, give me a few seconds."
Exactly.
Boxing is pretty entertaining right now.
It's entertaining.
Right now, it's in a weird place, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, I like it a little bit too. Like, I won't spend money on some of this, but if it's
I won't buy every pay-per-view.
But then you talk about, man, like, I believe if YouTube does it the right way, like KSI Logan Paul 2, we could have legitimate people or legitimate influencers turn it into something else, into an actual athlete, into actually doing that.
Literally, Logan Paul and Jake Paul, they're gonna be the starter.
They're gonna be the blueprint. Pioneers. They're the blueprint for anybody who wants to take this new path that was settled down. And I don't know, like, don't be Jake Paul is all I'm trying to say.
Be more like Logan. Well, not in the beginning, but right now.
Yeah. And then boxing is all interesting too because